when you
wine for me, darling. When you move your spine is alarming. And why you just wine for me, darling.
one time, two time for the DJ to
Dance Radio.
Place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast and then we talk slow. Come over and start a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Down, take my hand, stop, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. And I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. Push and pull like a magnet. Though my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now my bed sheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. 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 Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. Going out on our first date. You and me are thrifty, so go you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up the plate. We talk for hours and hours about sweet and sour and how your family's doing okay. And leaving, getting a taxi, kissing the backseat, tell the driver make the radio play. And singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. Push and pull like a magnet. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now my bed sheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. 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 Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. Come on, be my baby, come on. 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 I'm in love with the shape of you. Push and pull like a magnet. My heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. My bed sheets smell like you. I'm in love with your body. Make my baby. I'm in love with your body. Make my baby. I'm in love with your body. Make my baby. I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with the shape of you.
How could you ever leave me without a chance to try? How can I be sorry if I don't know to cry? I should be mad cause you never told me why. Still, I can't seem to say goodbye. Ooh, when I try to fall back, I fall back to you. When I talk to my friends, I talk about you. When the Hennessy's strong, all I see is you. It's you, it's you. Though I haven't moved on, but trust me, I've tried. If I give you a call, I'll hang up the line. When the Hennessy's strong, all I see is you. It's you, it's you.
I'm good at overthinking, but I haven't even got this far. All I know is in my mind is in the backseat of your Corvette car. You got me on my baddest, and you got me right your fingertip. Should be fed up with your bullshit, but everything about you know I can't resist. How could you ever leave me without a chance to try? How can I be sorry if I don't know the crime? I should be mad that you never told me why. Still, I can't seem to say goodbye.
When I try to fall back, I fall back to you. When I talk to my friends, I talk about you.
On the jealousy strong, all I see is you,
It's you, it's you.
I do.
Radio.
Love in 1,000 different flavors. I wish that I could taste them all night. No, I ain't got no dinner plans, so you should bring all your friends. I swear that to all of y'all my type.
All you girls in here, if you're feeling thirsty, come on, take a sip, 'cause you know what I'm serving.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Drink, la 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 la. Drink, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah,
Раз,
shimmy,
раз.
yeah.
Еще 10 минут и начинаем. 10 more minutes.
La 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 la, la la la. Freaky, yeah. La 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 la, la 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 la. Freaky, yeah. My freaky, yeah.
Shimmy, 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 yeah, shimmy, yeah. Bad girls gon' swallow, la, la. Bust down on my wrist in it, dude. My pinky ring bigger than this. Matter how Beverly Hills. Y'all got too many girls. Matter how Beverly Hills. All she wears red bottom heels. When she pick it up, put it on the top. When she drop it low, put it on the ground. DJ pop it, she gon' swallow that. Champagne pop it, she gon' swallow
All
that.
you girls in here, if you're feeling thirsty, come on, take a sip, 'cause you know what I'm serving.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Drink, swalla la la. Drink, swalla la la, swalla la la, swalla la la. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Drink, swalla la la. Drink, swalla la la, swalla la la, swalla la la. Swalla la la, swalla la la.
my God, these feelings just begun. I'm saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should it right. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Tells me to stop feeling feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it but it's never enough. My heart is hurting, it's more than a crush. Cause I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes cause my heart goes I'm thinking things I shouldn't think, singing songs I've never sung. Oh my God, when I see you I should run. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Tells me to stop feeling feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it but it's never enough. My heart is hurting, it's more than a crush. Cause I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes cause my heart goes but my heart goes cause my heart goes my head and my heart, my head and my heart, I can tell them apart. Can't help me to run, but I can't. Cause my heart goes cause my heart goes oh my God, this feeling's just begun. Saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should it right. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes
Dance Radio.
Why do I feel like I'm drowning? Like I'm running out of air. Why do I feel like I'm falling when I'm nowhere near the edge? Just let me know. Can you be the one to hold and not let me go? I need to know. Could you be the one to call when I lose control?
I need your love, I need your love. I need your love, I need your love. I need your love, I need your love.
Could you be the one to call when I lose control? When I lose control, 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 when I lose control. Could you be the one to call when I lose control? I know I can be destructive, and I can change the atmosphere. All I ask from you is patience, some patience, some patience. Just let me know. Can you be the one to hold and not let me go? I need to know. Could you be the one to go when I lose control? 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 Could you be the one to call when I lose control?
dreamer. Maybe I'm a fool for you, but I think I'm a believer. I believe in something new. Maybe I'm a liar, but maybe I will tell the truth. I think we gotta hold on, and I hope it's not too late for us to change. Will I see your face somewhere in a better place? Maybe I'm a dreamer. Maybe I'm a fool for you, but I think I'm a believer. I believe in something new. Maybe I'm a liar, and maybe I will tell the truth. I think we gotta hold on, and I hope it's not too late for us to change. Will I see your face somewhere in a better place? When you hold me.
Всем привет. Можем начать. Меня зовут Дамир. Я сегодня буду модератором воркшопа Build with AI Extended Астана. Сегодня мы постараемся узнать много нового, например, как искусственный интеллект может помочь нам в бизнес-процессах и веб-разработке. Данный воркшоп является частью воркшопов, которые мы будем проводить совместно с Google Developer Group. В дальнейшем следить за анонсами в Астана Hub и в GDG Central Asia. Сегодня у нас приехали два разработчика прямиком с Индии. Они являются экспертами в Google Developer Group. И сегодня они поделятся с нами своим опытом и инструментами работы с искусственным интеллектом. Поприветствуем наших спикеров Картика Дарасари и Вириджарда Синха. Так, сразу хочу предупредить, мы начнем сейчас сразу с воркшопа, и следом идет сразу воркшоп Вириджарда. После этого будет QA-сессия на минут 20, как раз все нужные вопросы вы зададите. Kartik, I think you can start with your presentation. Картик Дарасари сегодня покажет нам... Okay.
Hello, I hope I'm audible till the back. All right. So building advanced GenAI solutions using Gemini, using Google Cloud is something that I'll be talking about today. And first of all, I would also like to thank the organizers for having me here. It's my second time in Kazakhstan, and it's my first time in Astana city. So very excited to be here, meet a lot of developer startups. Yeah, thanks so much for that. So Salim Astana, Privet Astana. I'm Karthik. What I do, I work as a lead solutions engineer at Persistent, which is one of the Google Cloud premium partner companies. And I majorly work with Google Cloud's enterprise customers based out of US. And I help them with generative AI and Google Cloud consulting. So I basically help them with pre-sales, I support delivery, and so on. This is one of the pictures that I got from, we recently got one of the awards, and this is from the conference when we heard a lot of AI. This is from Google Cloud Next. So that's that. And I am recognized as a Google developer expert for Google Cloud, a champion innovator. So Google invites us to such opportunities to meet a lot of developers and help them in their learning journey. I do have a few certifications on cloud as well. So if cloud, web, full stack, or applications, or generative AI is something that you do, then I would be happy to have a chat with you as well. So that's that. I'll try to keep this session quite interactive so that even I don't get bored, you don't feel sleepy. So whenever I ask questions, maybe you can raise your hands and help me answer. So yeah, before we begin, here's like a few questions for you. How many of you are students? Okay, nice. How many of you are working professionals? How many of you are having your own startups or founders? And I hope anybody who does not understand English. Okay. So I think we are I think recording this cast as well, so you can check it in the translated version. So yeah, that's that. How many of you work on web? How many web developers? Okay, mobile developers. And folks interested in cloud, data, machine learning. How many of you are like project managers, product managers, business partnership? That's great. So I think we have, Oh, legal. That's good. So we have quite a diverse audience. So happy to meet you all. And how many of you have heard about Google Cloud or Firebase? A few of them. Okay. How many of you used Google Cloud or Firebase? How many of you have at least something running right now on Google Cloud or Firebase? Okay. So yeah, thanks for the information because this helps me tweak this session accordingly. And a little bit about past, analytical and predictive AI is something that is already optimizing the world around us, be it maps, be it payments, be it all the applications that you use on a daily basis has got predictive and analytical AI. So AI is not new for us. And then we did saw a jump in the generative AI field. And now generative AI is unlocking a lot of new opportunities for everybody, be it any persona. And what Google's aim is, their aim is to ultimately help people be more productive, make their lives better, help enterprises, startups solve use cases for the mass audience and achieve their potential. And how? Anybody who can help me with what's the full form of GPT? What is the full form of GPT? Anybody? Any answers? Yeah, don't worry, I won't put you on the spot. Sorry, generative? Pre-trained technology? Okay, I think it's 2 out of 3 correct, I think, yeah. So it's a generative pre-trained transformer, and the word transformer in GPT stands, that's called transformer, and that was launched by Google back in 2017, which triggered a lot of innovation. Even Google did launch a lot of machine learning models, be it BERT, AlphaFold, Lambda, Palm, and so on. We have also seen Gemini, Google Bard, coming in 2023, 24. So yeah, we'll be talking more about that. So here's some fun part. What is transformer? So here's the sentence that I was eating an apple at the Apple Park today. And a fun fact is that the image that you see on the right hand side was also generated using the text on the left hand side. Now, this is like a fairly simple, straightforward statement. If you have been into AI and machine learning areas, NLP is not new for us. There have been, you do have like autocorrect features on your keyboard since a long time. But why, how and why we have such advanced large language models is something that we will learn now. So this is like a fairly straightforward statement that I was eating an apple at Apple Park today. But when you say that I was eating an apple at Apple Park today and it was juicy and delicious. So when we say this statement, then how do we determine that what it refers to? So right now, what it refers to, is it referring to the apple fruit or the Apple Park? Make sense? Right? So who says it refers to the apple fruit? Why do you think that it refers to the apple fruit? But why not Apple Park? Right. So basically, yeah, okay. And when we talk about, I was eating an apple at Apple Park today, and it was stunning with lush greenery, sleek architecture, and sparkling fountains. What it refers to now? To the Apple Park? Why and how?
Which is like stunning, lush greenery. I mean, you can't really talk about that. Like, apple is juicy, and like the Apple Park is stunning. So yeah, more describes the place.
Yeah. So as a human, how did you determine that what it refers to? That is something where the transformer architecture comes into the play, that it not only takes the small part of your sentence, but it takes the whole thing as the context. It tries to correlate between apple fruit, juicy, delicious, sleek architecture, all these words, and tries to frame it in a way that, how many of you know vector embeddings or vectors? It's something that we might have learned in our school days. So basically, think about it in a way that the distance between apple fruit and juicy delicious is lesser than apple fruit and green or architecture, green grass or architecture, right? So that is how you determine that apple fruit is juicy and delicious and not sleek architecture. So that is what the transformer architecture is about. And this architecture triggered a lot of, this architecture did help a lot of ML engineers to make their large language models, their machine learning models more efficient. Any questions so far? So,
У кого-нибудь есть вопросы?
Yeah, the way, I'm trying to make it very easy and simple to understand, because, we have had, language models even before 2019, but this is something that triggered a lot of innovation. This is something that made large language models more advanced. All right, so predictive AI, we did experience predictive AI in a lot of different ways. And you know, how many of you used ChatGPT or Gemini, Google Bard? Nice. So you know, we are now familiar. We have adopted generative AI technology as well, but now there's a lot of you know, a lot of people are also demanding multimodal generative AI because it enables like a whole new lot of use cases. You cannot just simply converse with a large language model in text, but you can also search. You can also, you know, let's say we have the recording of this whole event, you know, so you can pass the whole recording of this event to Gemini, and you pass in the video, you can ask all different questions and you get answers. So it's not only about passing in text, but it is also about passing in audio, video, images, and so on. So, you know, some of the use cases that you see with the simple generative AI, we used to do classification, reasoning, conversations, and yeah, code generation, text generation, and so on. But with multimodal Gen AI, it helps you do natural image understanding. It helps you analyze a lot of image, video, audio data. And we'll be talking about some of the use cases in this session. So yeah, LLMs 101. So LLMs are nothing but machine learning models, who don't know, and it can help you recognize, predict, and generate natural language. It's trained on a huge amount of data, and yeah, so you know, these are like, we have had language models earlier as well, but since it's trained on a large amount of data, that's why it's called large language model. Now, what LLMs can do, you know, we have been using all the chat applications already. Like, it can help you copywriting, it can help you do conversations, reasoning, understanding, it can help you do generate code, text as well. So there are a lot of capabilities that large language models have. Now, when it comes to businesses, when it comes to enterprises, when it comes to startups, there's like a simple question that how Gen AI can help in my journey, how it can help me in my workflow, how it can help me make more money, how it can help me make my processes more faster. Because chat applications are cool, we have ChatGPT, Gemini, but what about it in my use case? So one of the surveys that was conducted recently, that shows that 96% of the CXOs thinks that Gen AI is going to be very critical to the success of their organization. And that's why there's a lot of research happening across across a lot of customers on how they can use Gen AI in their use cases. It's good that using, you know, because of this, they also have a lot of good budget allocated to such projects. And that's that. So, you know, there's a lot of potential in understanding the use cases across different enterprises, across different businesses, and help them in their journey. And the question still arises that how can Gen AI help me? Is it going to make my employees happier? Is it going to make my processes faster? Is it going to make my cost cheaper? Is it going to be more in a competitive advantage? So that's that. But we think that generative AI is something which will help transform across departments. It's not only going to be the technology department, but it can also help you in your finance workflows, in your accounting, supply chain, in your engineering productivity, in your procurement, supply chain, and so on. And it can affect different personas, be it an analyst whose job is to research and make decisions, make reports, try to understand a lot of data. be it customer service, whose job is to serve customers with their queries and support with their queries. Be it the creative folks who spend a lot of time on creating either designs, either UI, be it also like audio as well, animations with some of the launches that were launched at Google I/O. We also see that you can also create video from text, like one line of text, you can create videos as well. So that's great. And when it comes to founders, developers, AI experts, the foundation models, the pre-trained models can help you build use cases, build solutions on top of your use cases using the large language models that these hyperscalers offer. Now, we talked a lot about this, but how GenAI can help in each industry. So let's say when we talk about, let's say if there's an e-commerce company who has got online stores, offline stores, and so on. So first of the things would be research and information discovery. Let's say, so I'm a vegetarian. My dietary restriction is vegetarian. So when I'm going for shopping and I want to get something, if it's like an offline store, I would have to figure out, I would have to go through the product description, the ingredients, and understand that is this product a good fit for me or not. There's not like a by default feature or a filter for that. And how many of you do workout, or how many of you are like gym freaks?
Кто из вас занимается воркаутом и ходит в качалку?
Okay, yeah, I'm not. Now, with a lot of cool products in the market, the queries are also getting complex, that how can I get high protein, low fat, gluten-free chips, So if you try to understand from a technical perspective, these are like 3 different filters for chips, So the search engines, the things that we have right now are not that advanced. But using generative AI, you can build more like a search engine on top of your private data, on top of your products, to cater to such use cases. When, let's say, how many of you like cooking or do cook?
Because вас любит готовить.
That's good. I usually get stuck to find the right ingredients, the quantity. So cooking never worked out for me. But let's say, from an e-commerce perspective, let's say you want to make pasta tonight, right? So ideally what you need to do is to try to remember what the recipe is, try to order, let's say, all 5 different products, let's say cheese, spaghetti, this and that, and so on, right? Even if you go online, you would have to do like 5 different search queries, look at the products, and then add them to your cart, right? So from a UX point of view, there are a lot of clicks that you're doing, right? So there's a lot of time that you're taking, there are a lot of clicks and so on. But let's say if there's like a feature using which you just type in that I want to make pasta tonight. So it makes a call to the large language model, it finds the recipe, it finds the ingredients. Using the ingredients, it correlates to the e-commerce company, what they are selling, and it automatically adds all those 10 items to your cart. Right? Make sense? So from an e-commerce perspective, from an ROI perspective, the customers who were spending, let's say, 15 minutes on getting all 5 different products to their cart are now only spending 1 minute to add those items to the cart. So there's going to be like a lot of uptick in their, more like a upsell to their products. And let's say you can also cross-sell that most of the people are having these XYZ wines along with pasta. So you can not only upsell to your customer, but you can also cross-sell across different categories. So we talked about research and discovery. We talked about personal content discovery, personalization. But building search on top of your products might be a little complex because let's say if a company, let's say like, I don't know, any e-commerce company, right? They've got a lot of products and they would not have uniform product descriptions because they have got different content writers who spend a lot of time on creating different sorts of content. And if you don't have the right amount of data, then sometimes AI won't work really well. So using Gen AI, you can also enhance the product catalogs. You can make your content description uniform in the right way. Make sense? So this makes your search even more better. And then it comes to, let's say, so now product descriptions are better. We have the search functionality enabled. We have the pasta thing. We have sold the pasta items to the user. They made the pasta, they ate the pasta, and now they are giving a lot of feedback, reviews that these were good things, these were bad things, and so on. So let's say using Gen AI, you can consume all those product reviews, and I'm sure the folks who are like product managers, they always seek information on what are the good things and bad things about packaging, pricing, delivery, and so on, right? These are some of the questions that product managers usually have. So let's say if you've got 10,000 reviews coming in, you can't look at all those reviews every day. And sometimes, people are also sarcastic. Let's say, many a times they post on Twitter that this laptop was so good that it didn't boot up, so we have had NLP, algorithms and so on, who consume a lot of data. We have had such processes earlier, but with multimodal Gen AI, you can also pass in images, videos, and all the things that are there as part of the product reviews and get really good insights out of it. Any questions so far?
Коль, есть вопросы?
Right. So, that's that. Like these are like very simple examples to help you understand what Gen AI can do. And if you notice, none of these was a chat application, right? So we have had a lot of chat applications already. Everybody's trying to create their own chat, and that's good, right? But how you can make your processes even more faster, better using Gen AI, that is something that I'll usually focus on today. So that was more on the e-commerce, retail, CPG side. But when it comes to, let's say, financial services, one of the examples that we have is that, let's say, if there are investment bankers, if there are companies who do a lot of investments across different portfolios, they spend a lot of time understanding the financial data of different companies for making decisions for acquisitions and so on. So let's say using, when we work with US customers, they have the SEC filing tables, 10K PDF documents that they usually have for the financial data. So we have built some accelerators, some solutions using which you can get a detailed report using their SEC filing table, structured and unstructured data on how these companies performing. And you can also have a chat on top of that data. So this was one of the use cases for like a financial insight, financial analysts and researchers. When it comes to healthcare and life sciences, we have got use cases. Let's say there are researchers and scientists who create new medicines and drugs on cancer or diabetes, right? But they also do spend a lot of time on creating documents for FDA approvals. Now, using generative AI, using content enhancement solutions and features, you can automate, or not really automate, but you can make this process really faster. If it takes like 6 months, you can try to do it like in, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you are saving 5 months or 6 months of salaries of researchers and scientists, That's a huge uptick for customers on their budget. And you are not only saving money there, but you are also saving time, like 6 months or 5 months of time of researchers and scientists, and it is something that they can spend somewhere more meaningful. We also work on the healthcare side to create protocol report documents. So whenever you visit hospitals, you have a lot of hardware around you, which is like a technology enabled hardware. And a lot of people go through a lot of testing and so on before it is updated or published in the market. So we also work with healthcare device manufacturing companies to automate protocol report generation documents. It helps them to make their processes faster from, let's say, I think 2 months to almost like 1 week or so. So that's how, these are the use cases which are not really simple like a chat application, but these are something which are tailored into your own workflows. When it comes to media entertainment, I'm sure there are a lot of companies who have like a lot of physical, or maybe let's say if we take an example of a newspaper, there are newspapers from, let's say, 1900, 1920 and so on. Those are sitting somewhere in a raw format. But we worked with one of the companies where we digitized all of their data and built like a search platform on top of their all of the newspapers, using which you can search on top of newspapers across starting from the data that they had. This is something where it is not very easy to go through all the data manually, search for it and then do it. That is how search really enables a lot of use cases. When it comes to manufacturing communication service provider, they have a lot of use cases on supply chain. They have a lot of use cases on vendor management and so on, where there's a lot of good use cases on chat applications, chat on top of your private data and so on. And I've been talking a lot about chat on top of your private data, building solutions on top of your private data. So let's also see that how you can build applications using your own private data. But what and how we think about the generative AI stack is that there are different layers of, it's more like a layered cake in Gen AI. Some of the use cases that you see are horizontal across different industries. Let's say customer support chatbot, right? That's a horizontal use case across e-commerce company, a healthcare company, a insurance company, a car selling company, and so on. There are going to be use cases like employee chatbot, your internal chatbot, and so on. So these are like horizontal use cases which can be like a good fit for all sorts of diverse customers. And then there are vertical use cases which are very specific. Sure.
Thank you. My mom works as a main accountant in a company. And what do you think, whether, for example, can you use like Gemini AI in accounting? So, because you said finance, right? And finances are usually lots of numbers. And will you, when your company, add this feature to Excel, 1S, like all these accounting apps, so my mom will work easier. My mom's work will be easier for her. So, yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, I think sure, absolutely. So, if you see, there could be like two types of data in a financial format. One is like a Excel or CSV format, which is like a structured data where you have all the data inside different tables and so on. And there could be some unstructured data like PDFs, companies it could be like an investor earnings call report and so on, right? So some of the tools that we have, you can like upload your data and do like a chat on top of your data. You can ask different questions that what was my sales for let's say what was my Q3 sales for healthcare business unit, where the lead person was Damir, right? So if, ideally, a lot of people spend a lot of time understanding, trying to add filters. If your data is inside a data warehouse somewhere in a SQL table, you spend a lot of time on creating SQL queries and so on. But using GenAI, you can ask these questions in natural language and you can get output quite easily. So yeah.
So you could just use ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, so
solve the
I'll also
problem.
come to your point
Or
that
your GenAI or any of AIs, right?
So I would frame it in a way that generative AI is a technology and ChatGPT is one application which was built using that technology. Now, I'll talk about the product, when to use ChatGPT and Google Bard and when not to use it, because ideally, whatever data that you type, whatever input that you give inside, the standard ChatGPT application, that can be used to retrain their model, to uplift their model, and so on. So if you have private confidential data, you should not input that inside these chat applications, because they can use your private data. Your privacy is lost, right?
Thank you so much.
So yeah, when the product is free, you are the product. So that is where if you work somewhere, right? So a lot of companies restrict their employees from using these chat applications, because whatever data that you feed inside these, it goes back to their servers, which is not good for companies. So that's where you can either build your own version, or you can purchase the subscription and get the enterprise version of it, which does not send your data back to any servers, and it is not used to retrain or uplift their models. So yep, that's that. So you see a lot of use cases here already. This helps across different personas, if you see. So yeah, horizontal use cases, vertical use cases. So if you see, there are a lot of startups coming in the AI ecosystem who are trying to solve different use cases. There are a lot of startups who build their products more on the horizontal front, maybe like a customer chat support, maybe like a voice enabled chat support, and so on. Maybe like a financial assistant and so on, which can be like a diverse, which can be a horizontal solution across diverse use case. And then there are startups and companies who spend a lot of time understanding the use case, understanding, like, let's say healthcare, let's say insurance, and then create tailored solution for that industry. So when you think about GenAI, if you're trying to build something of your own, think about it either in two ways. One is build something on a horizontal front, or go deep down into one industry and build something deep inside that industry. Any questions so far?
Есть вопрос?
So that's that. Now, as I mentioned, foundational models, foundation models is something that everybody has access to right now. So be it GPT, be it Gemini, be it Llama, Mistral, and so on. So there are a lot of large language models that are out there in the market already. But using these large language models, you can build solutions on top of your own private data. You can either make use of industry tuned models like let's say Bloomberg GPT for your finance. You can use MedPalm for healthcare use cases. You can use SecPalm for security use cases and so on, and add these GenAI features into your product workflows. You know, we talked about the e-commerce example. And coming to the products that Google offers, this is slightly dated slide because we just had Google I/O 2 days back, which also brought in a lot of new announcements. But there is Gemini, which is like the core model that is there. There is Gemini Pro 1.0, Gemini Pro 1.5. There's Gemma, which is like a open source model. So if you want to tune your model, host it on your own, you can use Gemma. Then we have Imagen for creating images using text. Then we have Chirp for speech to text, text to speech purposes. Then we have Cody and embeddings for generating code for creating embeddings, vector embeddings out of your data. And then we also support open source models from Hugging Faces like Claude, Mistral, any models that are there on the Hugging Faces using the model garden, Vertex AI model garden. So it's not necessary that if you don't want to get like a vendor lock-in, you can choose open source models using Vertex AI model garden and yeah, use it quickly. And you know, there comes, you know, I get a lot of questions that why somebody should choose offerings from one cloud provider, one hyperscaler. So if you see, you know, if you have very good use cases either on medical healthcare domain, there are really good models called MedPalm, Gemini for healthcare, which is way better and way advanced for the healthcare use cases. There's a model called SecPalm, which is really good for security purposes. So when it comes to choosing a hyperscaler, there are things that you should consider these as factors. Also, one of the recent announcement is that Google recently extended the token limit from 1 million to 2 million. So whenever you send a query to a large language model, whenever let's say you type in a paragraph, right? It is tokenized and it is sent back to the large language model. And when you, let's say, if you want to send in a 3-hour long movie, right? It's a huge video. It is going to consume a lot of tokens. So using the 2 million token size, you can send in huge amount of data to the large language models to have really good models, to really have good response, because hallucination is a key problem when you implement GenAI. So yeah, any questions so far?
Оставим потом на Q&A сессию.
So now we will look at the retrieval augmented generation framework, using which you can build generative AI applications on your private data. So I mean, this is something like what I think is that building a GenAI solution is not simply like calling an API, calling an LLM, and that's the job. There are a lot of key components involved around building an application as well. So I mean, when I go to such events, I get a lot of questions that what do you think about the developers job market and so on and so forth, and you know, what should I choose in my career and so on. So it's not that you know only GenAI developers are there into the market, only GenAI developers are needed for building GenAI applications. But if you see, there's MLOps, CI/CD, capacity management, UI, backend, API management, application logic, so on. So there are like tons of things involved when you build a GenAI application for your end customers. So it's not that your front-end developer jobs, back-end developer jobs are like going away tomorrow. So don't worry about that. So yeah, there are also a lot of going to be a key foundational components, like you'll need a user interface, monitoring and logging, security, authentication, safety guardrail features, API integration, databases, foundational models, and so on. So, there are tons of things involved around building a GenAI application as well. It's not like, it might sound like a simple thing, but yeah, when you build for production, it's not. So yeah, when it comes to RAG, it basically stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. So let's say when we take the pasta example, right? So we are trying to retrieve some of the data from the large language model. So that's like the first part to it. Once we get those data from the large language model, we augment it in a way that we try to correlate that data with the products that e-commerce company is selling. Let's say, if it says butter, for an example, but the e-commerce company is selling 5 different brands of butters, right? Which is there in the stock or not, in the inventory. So that is more in the augmentation part, and then it goes into the generation part, where you are either trying to create like a JSON format response, or textual format response, XML format response, and so on. So it is more like retrieve, augment, and then generate. And why? Because why we should do this? Because the large language models that you use by default, let's say ChatGPT or Google Bard, right? If you ask questions about your own private data, they won't have access to your private data, right? So if you ask by default, they won't know who you are and what your data is. But using this format, you can create tailored solutions on top of your private data. Make sense? Yes or no? Okay, all right. So yeah, we have retriever, then we do semantic search, and then we have generator. And I know, this is like a prompt example. So sometimes when people implement or try to implement GenAI, they ask questions and it won't give an answer, and then they say that, it's not working. But this is like a really good example of when you build an application. This is how people write prompt, that you inform the large language model that act as an intelligent assistant helping users with XYZ. If the data is there in the context, then answer accordingly in, let's say, XYZ format, in JSON format with these key value pairs. And if the answer is not there in the context, then you should answer it in this way. Because there are either two ways. Large language models are creative by default. So if you will ask that, what is going to be my revenue in 2050? By default, it will come up with something random answer, right? And there are two ways. One is that either you create a creative application where you want the large language models to be creative. Let's say product descriptions, marketing descriptions, images, and so on, right? You want large language model to be creative. And when it comes to search or building some tailored application for your use case, you don't want it to be creative. You want it to be factual, right? If it will be creative in that zone, then you would be fed with some wrong results and your application might break, right? If the system will be creative in that past example, it will try to add some product in my cart which simply does not exist, and the application will break, right? So there are by default two ways. Either it could be like a creative application or like a factual application. So this was one of the examples on the prompt, and there are a lot of people who spend a lot of time on writing such prompts because it's more about art rather than science. It's more about experimenting with different prompts. And why and when to use RAG? So if you want to build question and answer, be it like a search application for your private data, you could use RAG. If you want to build chat applications, chatbot for your users, let's say if you purchased 5 different t-shirts from an e-commerce company, and if you want to build a chat application for that, then your chat application should know that who am I, what products did I purchase, and then support me accordingly, right? That is where you retrieve the data from database where username is Karthik, for an example, and then the AI chatbot is going to act accordingly. And then there is something called agents, which is basically when you try to build complex applications, agents using, let's say, report generation. So fetch my financial data from XYZ sources. When I give some instruction, do XYZ stuff. So when you want to build like a complex system, that's where agents come into the play. And if you see, this is like the visual example of how RAG works. So you basically load your data, be it PDF format or your database in like a structured format. Then you chunk your data into smaller chunks. Once you have those chunks in place, you create embeddings out of it, which are nothing but numerical representation of your data, and you store it inside a vector store. Now let's say once you have the data in the vector format inside your vector store, whenever a user does a query, let's say if I ask that what are the high protein, low fat, gluten free chips, so it tries to go to the vector store, it tries to find the right answer from that. It gives you the rank, it gives you a result in a ranked format, that these are like the 5 products starting from rank 1, rank 2, rank 3 and so on. And you can pass those ranked results to the large language model, stating that here are the 5 products that are related to this XYZ, and give me an answer from this. So this is how the whole application workflow looks like. And what are the benefits of implementing a RAG architecture rather than fine-tuning? Because when you try to fine-tune, you spend a lot of time on fine-tuning, you spend a lot of money, you need to think about a lot of other things as well. Meanwhile, RAG is easier and simpler and faster. You also get better context, you also get fresher data. So when you have new data coming in every day, your RAG application can simply support that database. You can have triggers on your pipelines, which can look at your data coming in every day, create embeddings out of it, and that simply works. So yeah, quicker updates, fresher data. It is going to be comparatively cheaper because you don't spend a lot of resources and money on fine-tuning your own LLM. And you can also have governance. Let's say if you've got a lot of users, so engineers can only look at their data, finance department can only look at the data that they have access to, marketing department can only look at the data that they have access to. Sure. Yeah, so LLM stands for large language models, which is like GPT, Gemini, basically the GenAI models that are there. Yeah, that is that. And these are some really good courses that Google offers. All the folks who are, I think, part of the Astana Hub will get access to Cloud Skills Boost platform. So you can scan this QR code, you can go through some of the really good content that is there related to generative AI, related to Google Cloud, and it will help you learn more about the Google Cloud offerings, generative AI offerings, by Google. And I think Dabir will also send in, I think, the email that how you can access this platform, what are the different features and so on. So I think he'll be sending a follow-up as well. So yeah, okay. And that's it. Thank you so much for hearing me out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really happy to be here.
Thank you, Kartik.
Sure, thanks. Um, Here's my QR code to the LinkedIn. If you folks would like to connect with me, I'll be happy to answer any questions, help you with mentorship if you're building a startup, help you with mentorship if you're building a generative AI application. So let's connect on LinkedIn. Thanks.
Да, если хотите, вот можете сканировать LinkedIn Картика и связаться с ним, если есть какие-то вопросы по Gen AI или, в принципе, связаны с техиндустрией. Вторая тема воркшопа — Leveraging AI for Web Development. И с нами Vrijar Singh. Vrijar, you ready? Okay. Давайте похлопаем.
Hi everyone. So my name is Vrijraj and I'm a CTO at Acprop. And also I'm a Google developer expert for Firebase and web technologies. So today I'm going to talk about how we can use the concept of Gen AI for the web development. So how many of you are working with the web technologies? Cool, that's great. So we can build anything with the help of the generative AI, or we can say the Gemini, or we can say any large language models. So a little bit about myself. So I'm working on multiple technologies like PWA, Firebase, AMP, Chrome, Google Cloud Platform, and I'm also working as a CTO at Acprop, which is it's a prop tech company in India. And at last, I'm a GD for the Firebase part. So today in this talk, I'm going to talk about three things. The first one is how we can enable the web developer ecosystem in Kazakh region. And then we'll talk about the ML ecosystem, how we can enable the machine learning capabilities for the web development part. And the third one part is the utility tools. If you are working on a web development part, what type of tools that you can use, or what type of utility tools that you can create for your web development and then build the amazing solutions. So let's talk about the Kazakh region. So here we have around 18 million monthly active smart users are using internet over the 26 million smartphone devices. So here you have a great opportunities, you can build any solution. It may be around e-commerce platform, or it may be around the mobile applications. Or you can create a food delivery applications. It's totally up to you how you can figure out the problem and then how you can build the solutions based on the technologies and the solutions. So it's a kind of goal for the developers, right? So let's talk about the machine learning capabilities. We as a developers, we can work on the machine learning part, or we can talk about the Gen AI. So right now, if I talk about 2020 or maybe 2024, so we are living in a world of AI. If I talk about 2014 or maybe 2010, building a full stack application is really hard. We need to take a lot of amount of time for writing a code, following a traditional approach. But with the help of AI, the generative AI, or we can say Gemini, we can do anything. I guess if you have a relevant amount of experience, you can create any full stack applications maximum 1 hour. It's really easy. You just need to understand the capabilities. What are the capabilities it has, and how you can build the applications. So talking about specifically for the Gemini, which is a part of the large language model, or we can say the generative AI. So you can create content, you can do a chat kind of applications, you can create some follow-up type of content, you can create applications, you can write the code, you can use Gemini for the analyzing the applications. If you are working with data science part, so you can use Gemini and you can pass the data and you can analyze the informations. So as I mentioned, it's a part of the generative AI. Generative AI means it's a machine learning models which has the capabilities to create content, means the text file. It has the capabilities to create a video file, images file, or the audio file. So you can do multiple things. So with the help of generative AI, you can do multiple things. You just need to figure out the industries. Let's say you are working in fintech industries or the healthcare industries. So you can find out the solutions, and then you can build the amazing solutions. But if I talk about we as a developers, like how we can use Gemini, so there are two ways. If you are working with the enterprises, so you can use Google Cloud Platform. You are more about the data concern, then you can use Google Cloud Platform. Here we have a multiple services like the Vertex AI, or you can use ML Engine. There are multiple solutions are available for the Google Cloud Platform, and then you can use the Gemini. The second one part is like if I talk about the individual developer. Let's say I'm an individual developer who I wanted to create a utility tools, then I can use Google AI Studio. So if you go to the Google Cloud Platform, the Vertex AI, so there are n number of models that are available, which is developed by the Google itself, and there are third-party modules that you can use, like the Gemini, Gemini 1.5, Gemini 1.5 Pro Flash. So there are n number of models you can use. They have a specific capabilities. You just need to understand the capabilities, like what type of models I can use for making which type of applications. So there are n number of models are available. Let's say if you are creating, the image generation part, you can use Imagine. If you are working with chatbot type of applications, then you can use Palm. So there are endless capabilities. Like if you wanted to work with code generation part, then you can use Codely, or maybe the third-party applications like Llama. You know Llama? Llama 2, developed by the Meta. So if you go to the Google Cloud Platform, there is a section for the Vertex AI, the model garden. There are n number of models designed by the communities, or maybe designed by the Googles. You can go to the model, they have a documentation, you just need to follow the SDK, the API guidelines, and then you can use these models for the development perspective. But if I talk about the individual developers, so this is one of the best tools, like the Google AI Studio. So you just need to go to the link aistudio.google.com, and this is a simple interface where you can use the Gemini models like Gemini 1.5 Pro or maybe 1.0 Pro. So there are n number of models, the Gemini families that you can use into the AI Studio. And you can build the applications, like if you are working on a mobile applications part or maybe web applications part, so you can create applications with the help of Google AI Studio. So this is a simple interface, like on the left side, there is a sidebar. Here we can get the APIs key, you can select the model. On the right side, you can select the model, you can customize the model in terms of temperature, and there is a documentations, so you can do a simple like interactions with the help of AI, with the help of Google AI Studio. So if you are working with like Python, like you can use Jupyter Notebook, and then like this AI Studio will give with the libraries. You just need to import the library, and then you can use Gemini model with the help of Python language. Or if you are working with the backend or JavaScript or the Node.js part, so you can create a REST APIs layer where I can pass the prompt, and then API will have a logic about the Gemini, and then it can give me the response. Similarly, for the mobile application development part, like if you are working with Swift or maybe Java, then you can use the utilities of AI. So this is a simple example. It's more about the code part. So this is an example for the Node.js, or we can say JavaScript. So first we need to load the libraries. We just load the libraries for the Google Generative AI. And then we have defined the APIs key, and also we have defined the machine learning models that we are using Gemini 1.0 Pro Vision. And then here, next one is the JavaScript object. Here we can define the setting in terms of temperature, token, max outcome token. So you can do that. And also you can provide a safety setting. Let's say I want some safety setting in terms of AI content generations. So you can define the safety setting such as harm category harassment, or maybe harm category speech, hate speech related safety setting. And the next one part is you need to define the prompt. So let's say I wanted to create a prompt, let's say write a short poem, or you can create a prompt like create a travel itinerary from Astana to Almaty for 10 days. So you can define the prompt. And then we have a JavaScript functions that you can call the generate content. So inside these functions, you can pass a parameter like content, configurations, and the safety setting. And that's it. And this will give me the response. So it's a small like JavaScript program. Like if you know JavaScript, that will be very easy. You just need to load the library, define the API key, select the models, define the configurations, and then pass the the prompt engineering part, and then call the function's name is generate config, and that's it. So with the help of this logic, you can create any applications. So like you can create any utilities within a 20 or 30 minutes. So, but if I talk about we as a web developer, how we can use the concept of Gemini. So there are endless use cases. Like if you are working on a web applications part, we need to focus on the content, writing some text messages for the AI, or maybe the website part. So we can use Gemini for code generation part, or maybe smart autocomplete. Like, in a VS Code editor, there is a autocomplete features. So you can create your utility tools to create autocomplete code generations for Python, Node.js, Django. It's totally up to you. Also, you can use Gemini for the language translation, code generation. You can pass your code to the Gemini, and Gemini can analyze the code, and then it can give you the response. Yes, for the SEO part, you can do this kind of keywords. Also, Gemini can process over the videos, images. You can do some testing part, optimizations part, the code assistant, the documentation generation. So there are endless possibilities if I talk about the Gemini for the web developer. And there is one more thing, like if you are using Google Workspace, like the Gmail or the Google Docs, Google Sheet, there are multiple Google applications that we can use in our day-to-day life. So you can also integrate the Gemini, like you can create automated scripts. Like if you are working in the product engineering part, like if you are a product engineer or maybe product manager. So we have a application data or maybe the product related data into the Google Sheet part. So we can integrate with the Gemini, and then Gemini can process the data, and then the Gemini can give you the report. So for this employee, the monthly report is this one. Or if you have a client meeting, so you can record the client meeting into the Google Drive, and then you can pass the video to the Gemini. A Gemini can give you the summary, and then you can create a monthly report for the employees. So there are endless use cases for the Gemini that you can do. So I'll give you the simple example. Like, so if you watch any YouTube videos, so inside a YouTube video, we can find multiple objects. Like I wanted to purchase this, let's say coat, pant. So there are multiple objects you wanted to purchase inside the video. So I have created this applications. It's more about the Gen AI product finder. So I've created this applications only in 30 minutes maximum. Just focus on the UI part, and Gemini will do my backend kind of things. So like I just created a UI. The first step is like we can create a UI with the help of HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript, where we can capture the images. And then we can apply some authentications. Like before accessing the applications, user need to authenticate. Like you can apply authentication with the Google, Microsoft, Twitter. It's totally up to you how you can authenticate the user. So once the user is authenticated, they will pass the images, they will capture the images. We need to pass the images to the cloud functions. Cloud function is more about the serverless, where we can write the JavaScript or Node.js logic. So where we can run the Gemini operations, like where we can pass the images to the Gemini, and Gemini, we can pass the context, like the prompt engineering part, and then we can get the response, and also I will pass the response to the Google search API, and then we can host this entire solution on Firebase hosting part. So this is a simple demo applications you can run. So if you go to scan the QR code, and then there will be a camera, you just need to identify the objects, and you can get the product informations, and also get the product recommendations, like based on the similar configurations. Okay, so I'm a kind of traveler, so I used to travel a lot to the different countries. So I created my own applications for the itinerary planner. So it's more about like whenever I'm traveling to the different countries or maybe different cities. So I usually prefer to create an itinerary from these applications. Like if I'm traveling from like Astana to Almaty, I have a 10 days, I have this amount of budget, and I'm a vegetarian. So this travel planner will give me the itineraries. Yes, for the day one, I can do this kind of activities. Day two, I can stay in this particular hotel based on this particular budget. I can go to this particular restaurant based on the ingredients I like. So you can create this kind of application as well as, so can we have a demo?
So включить demo.
Yeah, so it's a travel planner. So here I've written Astana. I wanted to visit Almaty. I have a 10 days, and then this is my budget. I'm a non-vegetarian, let's say. So if you scroll down, so this is the day-wise itinerary I have created with the help of AI. So in a day one, I can reach to the Astana, and then there is a like budget, and there is a places like tower I can visit and all. So this is the travel itinerary I can generate with the help of AI. So can we have a slide?
Обратно к слайду можно?
Okay, cool. So also I have created a multiple tools like with the help of AI. So it's more about like learning capabilities. Like if you go to the Medium, right? So I just enable the AI capabilities over the Medium, like dev.to. There are multiple blogs, publications, website. So I've created this kind of tools where we can have a code labs. So it's more about like we can have a step-by-step approach where we can create applications. So it's more about the greatest applications. Like you can create a blogs which will convert into the code labs. It may be around the step-by-step approach where we can have a AI. So if you have created a blogs, let's say in Python language, so I can convert your blogs into the, let's say, JavaScript part or the Node.js part. So it's an open source projects you can use for the code lab generations. I have enabled the capabilities of the AI. So I'm using two type of AI, like the open AI part, the ChatGPT, and another one is for the Gemini. And if I talk about the resources part, so you can go to the link like aistudio.google.com. This is one of the best resources. Like if you are a developer, if you are an individual developer, then you can go to the link, just explore the capabilities of the Gemini models, what type of things we can do. Like let's say we have a Gemini models. I can pass the video inside the model, and then I can ask a follow-up questions. Let's say I have a Mission Impossible movie. So I'll just pass the movie part into the Gemini, and then I can pass the questions like, can you give me the actor name? Can you give me the location where this particular shoot has recorded? So you can ask this kind of questions from the Gemini. And one of the best thing, like if you are more into the AI part, so you can go to the link google.ai. So here you can get the more informations like what's going on in the era of AI, what type of applications that you can build, what type of machine learning models are available that you can use for the AI part. So that's it from my end. Hope you have enjoyed the sessions. Right?
Thank you, Josh.
It's time for the leave, and thank you so much. And yeah, so you can feel free to connect with me on the social media platform. I'm here if you wanted to create any solutions with the help of AI. So I'm ready to help you in terms of like how we can create more scalable or robust applications with the help of AI.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Yeah.
Judge, I think you can sit.
Sure.
Так, сейчас мы переходим к небольшой QA-сессии. Если вы вдруг задаваете вопросы на русском, я буду переводить, как могу. One second. Kartik, can we start? I'm sorry.
Thank you for the presentation. It was amazing. I want to ask about the learning opportunities. For example, are there any courses or some tutorials for the that tool that you presented. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to answer. So there is a course platform, Coursera, right? So if you go to the Coursera, there is a one courses for the generative AI. You can follow the courses. It's a free of cost that you can take. It's a certification, and also they will give you the instructions like how we can use the large language model. And if you go to the like Google Cloud Skills Boost, so you just search Google Code Labs or maybe Google Cloud Skills Boost, you will find the labs for the generative AI use cases, like what are the step-by-step approach that I can follow for the learning AI part.
Yeah, and I think, the team Astana Hub has started like one partnership with Google developers on getting access to Google Cloud Skills Boost platform. So if you're part of, I think, Astana Hub, you'll get special access to, along with the LMS, to this platform. And the Google Cloud Skills Boost platform keeps getting updated with new content, new courses, like every day, because there are new advances coming in every day. So these are like good resources to get started with. If you are like a person who likes to watch videos, if you are more of a developer who likes to see code more, then there are code labs from Google. So if you search like GitHub, Google Generative AI, you will get code labs there as well. So if you quickly want to get started with code, how you can build applications, so that's that.
Thank you.
Так, еще вопросы? Не стесняйтесь.
Thank you for workshops. First of all, a lot of very interesting information, and it's a main reason of having so many questions also. First of all, when you are talking about creating the application with AI, what do you mean technically? Do you use some copilots, or you ask in chat mode to pieces of codes or something else you have, or how you do that?
So I've just followed the documentations. Like if you go to the link google.ai, so you will get the resources. Like if you wanted to use the capabilities of the machine learning models, they have created a multiple families of the machine learning models, like the Gemini Nano, Gemini 1.5 Pro. So you just need to understand, like let's say if I'm creating a mobile applications, so it has capabilities, but we need to use Gemini Nano models because the machine, like we need to run the machine learning models over the mobile devices, which has a less capabilities in terms of the resources like RAM, the processing power. So you can understand, follow the documentation, and then you can find the resources like how we can use these models and what are the capabilities. And you need to figure out the use cases. Like if you are creating a, let's say if you are working on applications where we have to process some data over the images or maybe the video file. So you can use Gemini 1.5 Pro models that has the capabilities like where you can extract the informations from the images, or you can extract the informations from the videos. Like if you go to the airport, so in the airport you will find a lot of CCTV cameras, right? So we can implement the use cases of the Gemini where we can implement the Gemini 1.5 Pro models. Camera will capture the images, we can pass the video part into the AI part, and AI can figure out, yes, this person is the right person, this person having a, let's say he's carrying some gun, or maybe the sensitive data.
Oh, okay. It looks like a good answer to another my question about the use cases for using API.
Yeah.
But also, if we are talking about use AI for the process of creating the source code, I
Right.
mean, how can you do that using inside of your favorite EDA or maybe some other way? For example, let's imagine you said you made an application with 10 minutes or something like this.
Yeah.
How?
It's really easy. They have created APIs as a machine learning APIs. If you are a front-end developer, we just need to consume the APIs.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So they have defined the SDK. You just need to import the library, and then they have functions like if you are working on a Bootstrap, the UI library for creating a UI interface. So first you need to import the library, and then you can use the capabilities, like they have a predefined much functions that we can call.
Okay, thank you. I have also a question about RAG, and it looks, for me, for example, it's a very good picture when you get data into the pieces and then into embeddings and so on. But do you have any advices or any methodology to be sure that the next version of our RAG model will be better than previous one? For example, it looks like a very universal method to solve everything for any knowledge map, but it looks like the mode, how we transform the data into pieces, it depends of something, and it looks like a black box with some tunes, and I don't understand how and what should I do to get better results. How maybe you suggest something?
So yeah, I think there's always this question that when to use RAG and when not to use RAG, when you should use RAG architecture and when you should fine-tune your model and so on. So let me answer it in this way, that when you have a huge amount of data in your database, or in your chunks, so let's say if you are trying to solve a problem where you need to pass a lot of data to get the right answer, so large language models are serverless, right? Serverless means that if you call their API, they don't know anything about you. So every time you do an API call, you need to pass in all those information, right? So for an example, you are trying to build a use case where you have the data, everything is good, but you are passing, let's say, 1 million tokens for each API call. And let's say if you have 200,000 users, for an example, who are using your GenAI application, your chatbot on a daily basis or whatever, So you make a lot of calls to the large language model, which is going to cost in huge dollars, right? So, and if your data is not going to be fresh, for an example, if your data is not going to change every now and then it would be a really good use case to use a fine-tuned model on top of your data, or fine-tune the model with your data, because that is going to be comparatively cheaper, because you won't be sending a lot of data in the context every time, and your cost will be saved, even if you have a lot of users. So when to use RAG? When you have, ideally, you have a lot of new fresh data coming into the picture every time, every now and then, or you don't have time to fine-tune a model and so on. With RAG, so there are a lot of large language models coming in every day, right? So if you want to build a LLM agnostic solution, let's say if you want to start with open source model right now, then maybe switch to Google's large language model, then maybe switch to some other large language model, you can have the RAG architecture and you can simply change the large language models using like a little changes, right? But let's say today, if you spend a lot of time fine-tuning an open source model, and after let's say 3 months or 6 months, you want to move to some other Google's large language model, you spend a lot of time fine-tuning that, right? So when you try to architect your application, you should have all these questions answered, that how many users, what is going to be the data, what is going to be the type of data, and so on, and is RAG the right choice for you or not. But yeah, I think for, right now, implementing AI is cool, implementing GenAI is cool, but again, it's risky, right?
Yeah.
So most of the time, companies spend on prototyping, seeing that if GenAI is going to really help, they try to create different pilot solutions, run pilot programs with small set of users.
that's when you don't want to spend a lot of time, money, and efforts on really fine-tuning a model and doing something, really above the roof, right? So that's when usually people start with RAG architecture, RAG implementation, see how is it really working or not, is it really working for their end consumers or not. And once they do that pilot, they think about how to fully architect, find a production application.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe you can give some examples of tasks that failed on rack architecture.
So I can give you the example. Let's say there is a PDF file. Okay, so there is a PDF file of the book for the C++. So that has a more, let's say, 270 pages. So you can't, you want some summarizations of that particular PDF file, right? So it has a lot of tokens. It has a lot of data. Here you can use the RAG implementations. Means if you have a large amount of data you wanted to process, then I recommend you to go with the RAG models. But again, you need to understand the system designing part, because these AI models, as of now, if I talk about the small use cases, it's cost effective. But if you are creating a large scale applications where you are implementing the AI models, so that you need to understand a lot in terms of like whether which type of model I wanted to select and what type of architecture I wanted to prefer.
Yeah, I think, sorry, but I have like a conflicting thought on this. Why? Because I can tell you like one of the journey. So one of the financial insights application that I mentioned, right? So that has got a huge amount of data in structured format, in unstructured format. So sometimes where RAG used to fail is that, let's say you have the answer in 5 pages, first 5 pages, but you have created chunks of 2 pages, right? And if you are not passing the perfect amount of chunks to the large language models, that is where RAG would fail, right? So when you even try to implement a RAG architecture or RAG application, you need to think about the data, or what are going to be the questions, some type of the questions, and how ideally one will get the answer. So one of the use cases that he said, right, if there are like 500 different pages, right? So how we did that is that we created a summary. Let's say and at that time, this is something where we implemented in 2023, where there was a lot of limitation on token size. So what we did is that we created a summary of first 10 pages. Then we went to the next 10 pages, created a summary of that. Then we went to next 10 pages, created a summary of that, and so on. So instead of having 500 different pages, at the end we ended up with only 5 pages, right? So, these are like the techniques on how you can, architect or build a solution.
Kind of creative process, right?
Yeah. It's more about the caching part,
And the last thing is that recently, just 2 days back, Google released the Gemini Pro 1.5 with 2 million tokens, which is like above the roof. You try to send in all of your data. I've not heard anybody hitting like 2 million right now. So, So one of the limitation was that a token context size window, but now it has reached up to 2 million tokens. So I don't see that as a problem now. Yeah. But as I mentioned, if you send in a huge amount of data, send in 1 million tokens for all 50,000 calls, right? It is going to work, but it might charge you in huge amount, right? It's cheaper comparatively to other large language models, Gemini, but still it would charge, right? So think about it in that way.
Thank you.
Hi guys, thank you again for your presentation. So basically, my friends and I are working on a sort of startup that will help like English learners to like speak with AI and like help them to improve their speaking skills. So the thing is four of us and like two of like other people. They do have IT background, and the rest two we don't. But like the problem is that those two people who do have that background, they don't really have a specific background in AI since like it's a like new thing. So we were just wondering how like what would you suggest us to start with? Like, would it be possible for us to like incorporate Gemini, for example, at least for like MVP, and then like go further and like develop and like, you know, improve those things? Or like how would you suggest us to like to start with, because we have like literally just started and we would really appreciate like any suggestions from your side. Yeah, that's basically it.
So one of the use
I'm
cases.
sorry, it's the last question. So after that,
Okay.
we will make a group for the, okay?
So one of the use cases that you can do, let's say you can like have a MP3 file in terms of audio, the speech you can collect from the mobile applications, and then you can pass the audio file to the AI, and then you can get the scores, like you can show the scores, like these all are the scores for the participants for the learning purpose.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, we can also connect offline, understand your journey more better,
Okay, cool.
and do that. But, you know, I think for any use case, not even to your use case, I would say that you need like a mixed team of AI or software engineers who know the technical processes, and few people from the domain side, let's say, who really understand that how, let's say somebody talked about the CA thing, right? How actually, if I want to build a financial application, I am a technology person, I don't know finance, right? So ideally you need to have like a domain person with you or get insights from that on what they do, how they think, right? You know, simple example was the Apple example, right? That I was sitting in Apple Park doing this, that, right? So if you try to think from a human perspective, what is the process of the human, how they're doing it, then try to think it in a way that how you can automate it. And this is not like for your use case, but this is like a general way of, because even when we work with a lot of customers, right? I don't know healthcare, I don't know insurance, I don't know XYZ, right? That's when we get the domain knowledge from them and then try to fit that how can we build something for them. But yeah, I think happy to have a chat with you, and I think we are doing something similarly on that. More like audio-based search and chat application that we are building recently, which not only has like a, but yeah, I think let's talk more offline.
Yeah, I think we are probably targeting those people who are like taking IELTS exam, like that's just for the start. So we are trying to like do sort of customer development at this stage and trying to analyze. So we're gonna be like a bit niched, I guess, not like that huge as you guys are.
Yeah,
but
I think your idea sounds like a GenAI-based, voice-based, Duolingo sort of.
Yeah, sure. And like,
so
what's your preferred like way of communication? Like, is it LinkedIn or is it like email?
I think I would prefer LinkedIn or WhatsApp.
Okay.
And I think we'll share those.
Yeah, I've got your LinkedIn. Okay,
Sure,
gorgeous.
thanks.
Thank you.
I can give you the one more use cases, like, you know, splitwise application.
Yeah, just basically divides the bill rate between friends.
So where we can use the concept of generative AI, we don't need to write some data in terms of, let's say, I have spent, let's say, 2,000 tenge for, let's say, coffee or something. So I can use the generative AI models, like I can just pass the data as a video, the audio files, and then AI can extract the informations from the audio file, let's say 200,000 tenge, which is a data. And then I can extract the data from the audio file, and then I can pass the query into the database part, which will store the data into the database. So you can do this kind of things.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you everybody. Let's make a group photo, but first of all,
Sure.
let me give a little present from Astana Hub to you.
Thank you.
A real thank you for your workshop. So, let's make a group photo, everybody. На сцену можно зайти. I think we can go up here to make a good photo. I'm gonna get rid of this.